material, the mic stays warm. Hosted by the dad with lots of charm. Insights are sharp and data's tight. The lens already and the joke's online. Hot takes, real talk, keeping it true. From high school halls to podcast cues, live a little, learn a lot. Turn it up, this show is hot. Grab your coffee and let's get into it. No filter, no fluff, just real talk. Let's do it. Ready or not, here we go. It's time for Muffin to start the show.
Internships are more than resume boosters. They're test drives for your future career. Today's episode 38, The Ultimate Internship Guide, How to Land One and Make It Count. I am the Murphman. I am your host of Hot Takes with the Murphman. Welcome to our show. I look forward to doing our show with you today. How are you doing today, Connor?
Doing good today, Murphman. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. So before we begin, I have a disclaimer I want to say. Connor and I have this podcast, and we are not experts. We just discuss the topic of the day, which today is going to be internships. Mm-hmm. And we share our experiences, knowledge, and whatever the case may be that comes to our mind. And sometimes that is really whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
You know, and because we are genuine, sometimes we get a little heated in our conversations, and sometimes adult language slips out. So if that does happen, we just apologize ahead of time. Normally I can take it out, but in case I miss it or something, just want to give you guys a heads up. Is that cool?
Yeah.
All right. So, anything going on right now that you think is important to talk about?
Nope.
Prepping for finals? Nothing?
Nada. Nothing.
So I'll tell you what, let's go ahead and ignite that fuse. Raises are earned and not handed out. The same goes for the best career opportunities. An internship is a 90-day job interview. And don't show up just to fill a seat. Stop treating your summer like a vacation and start treating it like a launch pad. Think about that. We love summer vacation when we're in school, right? We get off and we're off for 2 months.
Yeah, 2 months of freedom.
You in college, you have 3 months because you have 2 months in May and 2 months in August before you start. And we try to enjoy our summers, right? That's the whole point of it. Everyone tries to take vacations and everything. But at that time is something you can use to advance your career down the road and get an internship. Nobody wants to work for free, right? But that's a great time that you have dedicated to only work and you have no school to worry about. That's the advantage of working over the summer. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I'll tell you what. Let's do our burning question and let's find out more about what we're talking about today. Top tier companies don't wait for spring to find their summer talent. They start a lot earlier, don't they, Connor?
Way earlier.
Way earlier. That's right. So let me ask, what is the most common reason students fail to land a great internship? They don't have enough experience, they apply too late, they don't have a good resume, or they don't have a good GPA.
I think I'm going to choose B, they apply too late.
Exactly. Most students think A is the problem, that you have no experience. But that's the whole point of having an internship. You get the experience. But internships are literally for people with no experience. Literally. That's the whole point of an internship. The calendar is your biggest enemy. You've heard me say this over and over on the show. Schedule yourself, plan ahead, know what's going on, right?
Yeah.
And you can get things done ahead of time. Sometimes summer applications for internships start as early as October or November for the previous year. That's crazy, huh?
Really crazy.
Yeah, because they plan ahead. That's what we're supposed to be doing as a company, right? That's
Yeah.
what I tell everyone we need to do as an individual. So if you wait for your spring flowers to bloom, the seeds are already taken. Right?
Yeah.
So let's talk about that a little bit, Connor. Applying in the fall for something in the summer. How do you think that you would do that? You start hitting up companies, or how do you think people do that?
I don't know. I would think they just see anything they see, like posters, flyers, Instagram, and they just try talking to them, trying to get a job.
How do you think you're supposed to start planning in October, November? How do you think that's done by college students? I'm just curious. What's your opinion on that?
I think it's mostly from like flyers, posters, stuff around like what we hear around UTEP and all that. And I think they just go in and just be like, "Hey, let me work."
Okay.
I don't really know.
What if I told you there's these things called job fairs?
That also.
And they get held sometimes at the beginning of the semester, sometimes mid-semester. And all the agencies are there, right? I think you had to go to one, didn't you?
Yeah, and like
Tell me about that.
in October, I went to a job fair for a class just to see like on how job fairs are, like how they are in college. Because it's like you're a kid and it's like, yeah, you can be this when you grow up and all that, like But this one was like giving us opportunities on like if we join, what will we do and what will we get and all that.
So basically, they started recruiting you, right?
Not recruiting. Well, I mean, I guess, but they're not trying to get us with them. Like, not from the spot. They're just, like, trying to put an interest in our head.
Yeah, because, they want you to see everybody. And they may not, may not be what they're looking for. You may not be what they're looking for,
Yeah.
So you want to see everybody. Don't just go to one place and that's the only place you want to go, right? Going to those job fairs, you get to see opportunities that you normally would not even know exist, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, for example, you are studying computer science.
Yes.
Do you think you would go up to the desk and talk to the Border Patrol agents?
No.
Customs and Border Patrol. You don't think of cybersecurity with them, right?
No.
You think of Homeland Security,
Yeah.
but not Customs and Borders. But they need cybersecurity too. ICE or Walmart.
Okay, how does Border Patrol have to do with Walmart?
It doesn't. The point I'm making is you need to go and talk to everybody, because you cannot sit there and say, oh, Walmart doesn't use cybersecurity. No, they do. If you don't go and ask, you'll never know, right? That's the point of the story.
Yeah. Okay.
Now you see how they combine?
Yes.
Okay. It's because Border Patrol will arrest you at Walmart. No.
Okay. Wow.
And, just because traditionally you think, oh, they don't need anything. They don't need cybersecurity, but they do. And you need to go and hit up every company there, regardless if you think you would work for them or not.
I did. Not every, but some that I like. Just a few for the class.
When you're getting started for an internship, you got to go everywhere.
Well, that's the thing. I wasn't going for an internship.
Right.
So
You said,
I didn't go everywhere.
You said usually internships are done around your sophomore summer to junior summer, right?
Yeah.
Why don't you want to do an internship in your senior year?
I don't know. It's already too late.
Yeah, you're already graduating, right? If you did it all in 4 years. Now, imagine doing an internship in the summer and then graduating in December. Right?
Okay.
That some people will do that. Like our cousin, well, your cousin, my niece. She's graduating in December. Why? She has things she's wanting to do, and she's not trying to rush out of there in 4 years. She's going to finish her degree, and she's going to get her job.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So, you don't always have to finish in June. You can be a summer graduate. You can be a December graduate. But when companies are looking for people, they're looking to fill them starting right away after semester ends. Because once you're done with school, they want to hire you right away.
Yes.
So you normally don't do a internship in your senior year. You do it after your sophomore and after your junior years, right?
Yeah.
And what do you think is the purpose of an internship?
I don't know. Just to see how the workplace is on where you would be studying, I guess.
Right. To see how the workplace is, because that's something they can't teach you in college.
Yeah.
Right. You know, working in the places I've worked, you learn behind the scenes stuff. Okay. You learn behind the scenes stuff that they don't teach you in school.
I mean, yeah.
Okay. So you want to try to do an internship at 2 different places. Maybe if you can, it'd be great to do 1 30-day here, 1 30-day there. And just, get to do 2 a year. Or maybe do one for a semester and do a different one for another semester. Right? It depends on what job you have and how much, load you have in school and how much time you have. There's a lot of things that go on to it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But let's think about that. And when we talk about the whole internship process, let me tell you my hot take for today. Okay, so we can get this started. Value is the only relevant metric in a professional environment. Knowledge is a currency that pays higher interest than a minimum wage paycheck. Here's today's hot take. An unpaid internship that teaches you high-level skills is a better investment than a paid job that only teaches you how to use a photocopy machine. You got to trade off. Are you going to get money and just learn minimal skills, or are you going to go to an internship that's highly focused to get you the skills you need so they can be transferable into other jobs? That's what you have to think about. Working for free sucks.
Yeah, it does.
But you get the skills that you need. You make the contacts you get. And they might even like you and offer you a job. One of my favorite movies, I think it's, look it up real quick, The Interns with Owen Wilson and I forgot the other guy's name. Vince Vaughn.
What about it?
I don't know if it's The Interns. Is that what it's called?
Internship.
Just Internship?
Yes, the internship.
The Internship, okay. In the movie The Internship, they all go and work at Google. And you have all of these smart people that get together, right? Mm-hmm. And his team gets made up of all the weird people. And they are doing tasks. And some of them are silly and some of them are real. Right?
Yeah.
But you think about that and you say, okay, what did they learn? They learned teamwork. They learned new skills. And there was a competition. The team that won would get an internship, the rest wouldn't, Mm-hmm. And, I don't know how real it is of Google, how they do this, right? But, yeah, you might be having an internship with 5 or 6 other people. Okay. I know you haven't seen the movie, what's the name of the movie?
Well, what is it about?
It's with Will Smith. Oh my God, just do Will Smith Internship.
The Pursuit of Happiness.
There we go. Okay. Put a time down. Just write down break or question mark, and write the time.
Mm-hmm.
For example, there's this movie called The Pursuit of Happiness with Will Smith. And in the movie, he tries to get an internship to work for this company with investing, right? And he goes and, his first day's horrible.
Almost every first day is horrible.
No, he had a suit and then it got carried away by the wind and run over by a car and it got muddy. So his only suit, because he was homeless or lived really poorly, his only suit was ruined. So he shows up to work with no t-shirt, or no shirt, I should say, because it got blown away. I forgot exactly how it happened, but that was his first day on the job. Right?
That's terrible.
Yeah.
That's really terrible.
Yeah, and this is a true story. Now, at the end of the movie, when they offer him the internship, they offer him a real job. They say, do you have a shirt? Yeah, good, because you're going to want to wear it tomorrow when you come to work. First day at work, make sure you wear a shirt this time. I don't know how realistic that is, but that's actually what happened to him. Okay. His first day he did an internship, he had to overcome that stigma and beat out everyone else that was going for that position to get the job. So can you do an internship just to get some skills?
Yeah.
Can you do an internship just to get networking?
Yeah.
Or should your purpose be do the internship to get a job?
I mean, you could do all those.
Well, you could, but I'm saying, what do you think would be your priority?
Getting the job.
Getting the job, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, if you're not planning on working,
then don't get the job.
don't take the job, right? But what happens if they offer you a job and you're not even expecting it? Like, I will tell you, I started at one job one time. I started part-time, and they're like, we don't have a budget for full-time. Within 2 months, my boss comes up to me and says, I'm going to find the money to give you a full-time position. I said, thank you. And she did. Right? She saw the value in me. She wasn't expecting to do anything like that when she started when she hired me. She was just expecting me to come part-time, and that's it. When I showed her how much value I had, it changed her mind about what I could do for her. She hired me full-time with benefits and everything, right? So when you think about that and you go to an internship, you might just go in to get the skills. You might just go in to get networking, just some experience. But they might end up offering you the job even if you weren't expecting it. Mm-hmm. So think about that. And while we go to break, I want you to realize, hey, this is something that I want to do or I don't want to do. And we'll come back to break after the break and we'll talk about it, okay?
Okay.
It's time for a break. Hot Takes with the Murph Man will return after these messages.
The station where our veterans' voices are heard. MBR Talk.
Hey, thanks for supporting our channel by watching and listening.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
It's the guts and it's the glory. 100 stripes, 100 stories. It's the Pledge of Allegiance on the 4th of July. It's them handwritten letters from home. It's them sleepless nights alone. It's his newborn baby he left with his wife. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, lay down, here's a line. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, for these stars and stripes. Hey. From the fields of Indiana to the swamps of Louisiana to the golden coast of California, Uncle Sam's the only family he's got. His purple heartbeat won't stop, and his 18th birthday was the day he was born. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, lay down, here's the line. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, for these stars and stripes. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, stand on the front line. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, pay the ultimate price. Oh.
Before we wrap up, here's a reminder. Hot Takes with the Murph Man streams live every Saturday at 12 p.m. Eastern with Military Broadcast Radio. At mbradio.us, we give veterans a voice and help them launch their own podcasts. Hot Takes with the Murph Man is partnered with Squad 915 Studios, the place for premium content you won't find in the live podcast or on socials. At stream915.com, we are a local platform made for El Paso with content exclusively created by El Pasoans. Check it out. It is free to create an account. Visit purehottakes.com to connect on socials and unlock your discount link to stream915.com.
So let's talk about those terms that we're going to be discussing in laying down the coals. Internship, a short-term work experience designed to give you a taste of a specific career before you commit. Just a taste. That's all it is. Professionalism, the unwritten rules of the office. It's about your attitude, your punctuality, and your follow-through. And mentorship, a high-value relationship with an expert who can skip your learning curve by years. Years, I say. So let's talk about those. When you're going to school, like for counseling, like I did, you have to do 100 hours in a semester of working with clients, right? So you have to go somewhere and say, hey, I want to be a counselor. And basically you sit in and you watch people do counseling. It's really awkward for the patient because they're like, whatever.
Yeah.
Right. But in reality, as a counselor, you have to see how people do it, because you have your own idea of how you would do counseling, but you don't know how to do it until someone else does. And I'll tell you, when I had to take on interns, because my boss would put, they'd be there for a month and she'd put everybody for 3 or 4 days with each counselor, so we can see how everybody works. And I would say, what did my boss tell you about me? She told me, you're really good at what you do, but you have your own way of doing things and not to follow it. And, I asked my boss, what do you mean by that? And she says, the way you treat kids, she says, sorry, I thought I had Do Not Disturb. What the hell? I guess I didn't turn it on. My boss told the interns, she says, he's a great counselor, but he has his own way of doing things. And then I asked her about it. I said, what do you mean by that? And she says, the way you treat kids, Sean, she says, you treat every kid differently. And she says, I don't mean like favoritism or anything like that. She says, but your whole attitude changes based on their race, their language, their history, their social status. And I said, what do you mean? She goes, you're able to fit in with wherever that kid's coming from. If they're coming from a gang, she says, I still don't believe it, but yeah, you can talk about gang stuff with them, right? Drugs, you can relate to that, not because of my history, but I'm actually really good about learning about drugs and sharing the information. People who had parents who got divorced, last week we talked about in the episode, all the things that have happened to me. So I was able to relate to these kids in almost every way. The good kids, the bad kids, the really, really bad kids, because of my experiences. And she told the people that would go with me, you can't fake what he does. You can't go in, yo, homie, what's up? If that's not who you are, right? And he has it. The way he does it. She says he goes around. She says I can't explain it. He just starts talking to the family, and you'll see him change as he progresses talking to the family. You might even hear him cursing, because I had one father. This is really funny. I brought my intern with me, right, and the father just cursed up a storm, and what he was trying to do was just offend me, and I'm sorry, I can't work with this, right?
Why?
Because he thought I'd be offended and not want to come and work with someone who's so rude and so obnoxious.
So he was trying to test you out, technically.
Well, yeah, but when I came back at him harder, like street harder.
Yeah.
You look at me. That's not me. Can we agree?
Yeah, you don't look like someone gang affiliated or in that type of manner.
Right. So I went off on him, and I just was like, "You think this is blah 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 blah?" I said, "I don't give a damn how you talk to me." That's not the words I use, of course, right?
Oh yeah.
And he looked at me. He goes, "Huh? Maybe we're gonna get along just right." And my intern was like, "You don't see this in school. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're supposed to be professional. You're not supposed to be cursing." And she was just like, "They're gonna throw down."
She was terrified, huh?
She was, and and that's what's so funny is like she tells my interns, my boss told him, is like he goes with whatever the flow is in that room, and she says, and you cannot fake that, you can't, And the other day we were with your friends and we were talking. Remember that joke I made about the Dollar Tree?
Which one?
The reason they take you to Dollar Tree?
I don't remember.
I said something very racial.
I don't remember.
Okay. I'm going to tell you.
Okay, go ahead.
And then we're going to start over again, okay?
Just say it.
When I said the white privilege. Are you using his white privilege?
The dollar store, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm like, what are you talking about,
All
Dollar
right.
Tree? I'm like, what about Dollar Tree?
Like for example, Connor, you have some friends, right?
Yeah.
And they take you to the Dollar Tree. And I'm an adult, a lot older than they are. And they're not used to adults talking to them the way I talk to them. Can we agree on that? Is it a bad thing?
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so either, right? But I can relate to them, even though I'm older, and I can talk on their level, right?
Yeah.
Even now to this day. And when I said it, you were like, wow, you're turning against me or something. I forgot how you said it. And we just all laughed because we found that even more funny the way you responded, right?
Yeah, I remember.
But when you're trying to be an intern, you go somewhere and they try to teach you the way it is, and you might get someone doing an internship with you when they're mentoring you and giving you all the ways you should do it because they don't know if you're going to be hired there or not. But they're not going to tell you all the crazy stuff you do, right?
Some jobs do.
Well, if you go do an internship at a job and they say, here's how they want you to do it, but here's how I do it.
Yeah.
Which way are you going to learn?
The way they do it.
But if it's wrong?
Well, if they haven't been caught, then.
Again, that's where we talk about, right? So sometimes when you're an intern, they give you the scoop on the company, and you get, like, undercover boss, you get to hear all the chisme, the drama. Sometimes they tell you very professionally, this is what we do, and then when you go actually work for them, you see a different side of the people, I shared a story a couple weeks ago about a drill sergeant taking me out to go eat menudo when I'm hungover, or actually probably still drunk. And someone wrote on that, says, I'll take things that never happened for 500. And I was like, it did. Why would I lie? That's not a typical situation, right? That doesn't happen. It's not supposed to happen. It never will happen again. Probably that's the only time in the history of drill sergeants it's ever happened. Okay? But it's just the experiences we have. And when you're doing an internship, you learn about people. And you learn about the job. And, it's more than just the job itself, dude. It's more than just the skills. You got to find out the culture of that company. Like, for example, cursing. What if you don't curse? And they're in there and they're cursing up a storm. Are you going to want to work in that environment? Or vice versa. Let's say you go in there and they never curse. Then once they get to know you, they're cursing up a storm. You're like, whoa, wait a minute. This is not what I was expecting, right? Plus, you learn skills the way it's supposed to be done and the way they do it. And that's what I tell people. Here's how I'm going to show you the way it's supposed to be done. Once you learn how to do it that way, then you can start adding your own flair to it.
Okay.
Right?
So do it the right way first and then just do whatever once you get the hang of it.
Once you get the hang of it. Okay, but if you start off taking shortcuts, you're not doing it right.
Well,
Like, okay, you've run a popcorn machine before, right?
yeah.
Okay. Certain steps have to be done at certain times. First thing you have to do is heat it up, right?
Yeah.
And then you have to put the oil in it, and then you put the popcorn in it, let it pop. Let it pop, and then you have to dump it and clean it. Or how do you clean it or not before the next batch? Or you just keep going
Just keep going to the end of the day.
to the end of the day, right? Did you ever take any shortcuts?
To cleaning it?
No. Like,
Or just
the process of doing it.
like putting the popcorn and all that?
Yeah.
I mean, no.
No, right? Because there's some
That's-
things you just can't,
Yeah, you can't really shortcut it.
right? But people always try to find a shortcut. So if you ever have to mentor somebody, make sure you teach them the right way to do it, not the way you do it. Okay. And once someone's been there for a while, then they're able to learn their own style. Okay. Being professional is very important during an internship because they're testing you. They're trying to determine if that's something that they want to, if you're something that they want to hire. Right. If you go in there and you have an attitude and, you know, you don't dress professionally, and you're not going to get offered a job. At the same time, when you're having an intern come in to work at your company, you have to act a little differently, right? Because you don't want them to know how you really are until they get to know you, right? So as hard as it is to make friends and understand people and why they do things and all those situations, right? You also have to learn the culture of the job and the job itself. So when you go do an internship, a lot of things can happen. You know, one of the best ways to do this is to hear a story from someone else. And let's hear about Nina's story from the fire. Meet Nina, who applied to 10 internships and got 0 replies because she was just a name on the screen. She turned it around by tailoring her cover letters and mastering the art of the thank you email. You know, see, the moment of rejection streak ended with a dream offer in advocacy. So, when you think about that, right, Nina had nothing to it, just a name on a piece of paper, right?
Mm-hmm.
But whenever she got any contact with people, she would send them a thank you letter. You know, thanks for reaching out to me. Thank you for talking to me. Thanks for taking the time to be with me, whatever the case may be. You know, and that got more doors open for her than if she had never replied to people. One day, I was at a job. I was doing trivia, the Geeks Who Drink, and someone comes in and says, hey, you know, we'd like to hire you to do our party and do our trivia for our organization on a monthly basis. I said, I can't do that. It's competition for Geeks Who Drink, right? And we started talking, and these are people who had PhDs and they were doctors and they're in charge of organizations and whatnot, right? And I'm just lowly me, being myself, right? I sent her an email because that's what she asked me to do. She never had the courtesy to reply to me saying thank you. That in itself told me everything about her culture at work, that I would not want to be part of it. Does that make sense? Just because she didn't reply to me. You know, I take the time to write you an email because that's what you asked me to do. Not because I just did it because that's what you should do.
But like,
She said-
actually told you.
Yeah.
To be like, hey, write me an email and all that.
You know, and she didn't even reply. So it just tells me that's not something I want to ever go work for. It could have been a lapse in judgment or whatever. Yeah, it could be, but that first impression was not a good one. Now, sometimes you can have a first impression and you really like something, get to know who they really are, and then not like them. That's a possibility too, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's happened before.
It has. It has, you know. So think about all that when you sit there and you send thank you letters. You might not get a reply, but at least you did what you're supposed to do, right? You know, I had a job with a principal I worked with, and she never read my emails. And in April, I sent her a letter saying, hey, over the summer, I want to do this. In May, hey, over the summer, I want to do this. Nothing. In August, I came back. I said, hey, I was trying to do something over the summer. You never really got back to me on that, but I want to do it in the spring or in the fall. And she replies to me and she says, I am so sorry. I never saw the other emails. I'm like, how do you not see an email? Well, you're not in my focus group on the chat in the email. I said, so you don't even read stuff in the other section? She says, no. How? You know.
Audacity. Oh my God.
Right. I loved her. You know I loved her. You know who I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I loved her. I loved her. But I was like, damn, dude. Like, you really are not in touch with what you need to be doing in some cases, you know. And yeah, it's funny, I think, because, you know, you never realize what people are doing behind the scenes until you're there and you see it and you're like, wow, and you're in charge of the whole school. How many emails are you not reading? How much more could we be doing at the school? You know, there's just so many questions I had. And yeah, anyway, I ended up doing the program I wanted to do and everything was good. But yeah, it didn't go too well. But
it's not how you expected it to
no,
go.
because everywhere I go, I always have some respect.
I mean, I would think so.
You know, at this school, I had one guy who hated me, and I was ready to throw down with him a couple times. With the principal, assistant principal. I hated him. He hated me. And that's just the way it was. Right? You got to work with people, whether you like them or not.
That is true.
That is true, right?
That is so
But I'll
true.
tell you what, speaking of how to do things, we call those actionable steps, right? Let's talk about our heat map, where we talk about those steps you can take that will help you do a better job when you get your internships. Time for those actionable steps in our heat map. Today, we have the fall sprint. Start your search at least 6 to 8 months before you actually want to start working. If you're looking for June, Connor, you're looking at October.
God. So, well, I mean, that's good enough for fall, right?
No. You're working for the summer internship.
Ooh.
And you start in October. You don't wait until April or May to start trying to work somewhere in the summer. They already have people coming in.
Yeah.
The multi-channel search. Don't just use one job board. Leverage LinkedIn, career portals, and local networking. Because you can go and, you know, we were talking about LinkedIn last week. You can go and put down looking for an internship. And people will type the word internship to see who's out there looking for internships. Right? And you use the technology there. You can also use the different job boards, college boards, student boards, literal boards for flyers and stuff, right?
Yeah.
You know, what about what we're doing with stream915.com?
Well, I mean, what about it?
We want to teach people how to be producers behind the scenes and understand what it takes to produce a show. How to film it, how to record it, how to do the shots, right?
Yeah.
So we take interns, and they have a 4-month course to take. They start from knowing nothing to running a 3-hour show.
Dang.
And they have to set up all the equipment by themselves. Okay? And basically, that's how the owner did it. He says, I had to learn how to do this all by myself. So I'm going to teach you how to do it all by yourself, because we never know who's going to be there. And he did, right? He hired this one guy. The guy's doing great. He's the only one that stuck through the whole program. And he's learned so much. And I've learned so much. I'm not even doing the internship, right? And I've asked you, do you want to do it?
No.
You know, and you're like, that's not something I'm interested in. And that's okay. But it's an experience that not everybody gets. Like when we were there Wednesday and your friend was there with us, he was like, this is so cool. And, you know, it was funny because you bragged a little bit about, yeah, we this and we that, right?
Okay, well, I wasn't trying to take credit, okay?
No, I know you weren't, but you were bragging because you're proud of what you've done there, or what we've done all together. Again, 8 months ago, you would not have thought that we would be where we are today. You've done stuff, and you're proud of it, and there's nothing wrong with that. If you had done the internship, how much more would you have learned? And
Probably still the same.
you maybe would realize this is not what I want to do, and you already know that, right?
Yeah.
So think about that and look for your internship in various ways. Don't just expect it to be one way. And last but not least, the fit factor, which is what we're talking about. Research the company culture so your application sounds like it belongs in their building. Right? If you're going to go apply for a job at, let me think, what's the computer company?
Well, I mean,
IBM. Is IBM still around?
Yeah,
Microsoft. Okay, Microsoft or Google. All right.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
God, why
Google.
can't I think of them?
I don't know why. The first thing you think of IBM.
That's because that's my first computers and stuff. So that's the first thing that popped in my mind. You go to IBM and you go see how everyone's dressed. They're dressed in khakis, dungarees, and maybe short sleeve T-shirt and a tie, maybe a long sleeve T-shirt and a tie. But they're not really wearing suits.
I mean, there's no need for a suit.
Right.
Just look professional, I guess.
Okay. And when you look at all the people that are taking your program in school, do they dress professionally at school?
No.
No? What about all your TAs?
No.
You don't see them wearing suits or anything, right?
No, not suits. Like button-up shirts at most.
Right.
But they don't dress up.
Yeah.
It's like a student. I mean, they just dress up like a student at school. That's it.
Right. You know, there's a certain culture you have to learn. So if you're going to go work as a TA, look how the TAs are dressing. If you're going to go work as a teacher, see how the teachers are dressing. You know, we're not supposed to wear jeans, right? Some jobs, like, they don't need to wear jeans.
Well, I mean, yeah, it depends on, like, what.
Well,
But-
the job I have right now, I have to wear collars.
Yeah.
Okay? It has to be buttoned up. It doesn't have to be all the way, it could be a polo shirt, but it has to have buttons and it has to have a collar. And we're online, so we want to look professional. Most of us are wearing pajamas on the bottom, right?
Yeah.
Business on the top, party on the bottom, whatever. But you want to know that before you go work there, so that you can fit in when you get there. Imagine if you're working at McDonald's and you show up in a 3-piece suit for first day of work. They're going to be like, what?
Yeah, no.
Right, no, you don't dress like that. So look at that fit factor and look at all those ways you can do internships. And when we come back, we're going to talk about some of those pitfalls you might experience in our segment called Where You're Going to Get Burned.
It's time for a break. Hot Takes with the Murph Man will return after these messages.
The station where our veterans' voices are heard. MBR Talk.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
According to the VA's suicide data report, an average of 22 veterans die by suicide every single day. This figure is a sobering reality and a crisis that demands our immediate attention and compassion. We must recognize and address the fact that every 24 hours, 22 veterans are losing their lives to suicide. The war doesn't always end when our veterans come home. The invisible wounds they carry, wounds that are real and heavy, require continuous support. No veteran should have to carry this burden alone. Many veterans experience stress and disconnection as they navigate life after service. But there is hope, there is help, and you are not alone in this fight. There's a vibrant community ready to support you, offering friendship, understanding, and shared experiences. You served your country, now let us serve you. Don't fight the toughest battle in silence. Your mission now is to reach out. Dial 988, then press 1. Text them at 838255. The Veterans Crisis Line is available 24/7. Every day, we save lives. Your life is invaluable, and your service is honored. Let's work together to make 22-0 again. No veteran should face their struggles alone. Together, we can ensure every veteran finds the support and hope they deserve.
He gets help, but he still feels off. Sees an ad on the TV about a dog batting said, "This is a man's best friend." Whoa, so he goes one day and he picks it up. Never thought a dog could bring so much love and put a smile on his face. But he's finally found a saving grace. He needs help, but he don't know the path to take or the way to go to be free. Put his mind at ease. We will help, 'cause we can't stand to see a soldier go to God by their own hands. We will do everything we can to make 22-0 again.
Before we get back to the show, I'd like to pause for something that matters. I was inspired by Ryan Spencer's song, Make 22-0 Again. I'd like to remind you that help is always available 24/7, 365. If you ever feel you need support or are in crisis, call 988 and press 1 or text 838255. There will always be someone ready to listen. Remember, you are not alone.
Welcome back to the show, you guys. You just saw a video by Ryan Spencer, Make 22-0 Again, and it's about veteran suicide awareness. The 22-0 again means we're trying to stop losing 20 to 25 veterans a day to suicide. You don't need to do that. There's help available. Dial 988, press 1, and help's available 24/7, 365. And you don't have to be a veteran. You can call that number. It's the crisis line. And pressing 1 gets you help right away. Okay? So let's keep that in mind and remember, get help. Someone's there to listen to you. But now let's talk about those pitfalls that will torch your opportunities on where you're going to get burned. So, the summer-only mindset, waiting until June to look for work, is the fastest way to stay unemployed. You know, next week we're going to be talking about how to actually look for a job. And that's one of my very first points is you need to start looking before you graduate. Don't wait till you graduate to look for a job. You know?
Yeah.
Generic spamming. Sending the same copy-pasted resume to 50 companies is a recipe for being ghosted. Because you're not doing anything to individualize yourself from others, to separate yourself individually. And the checkbox attitude. Showing up just to get credit ensures you'll never get a letter recommendation. You know, when you think of letter recommendation, you know, people write some amazing letters.
Oh, yeah.
And a doctor I used to work with, Dr. Simon Pincus, I'm going to say his name. He's an amazing man, amazing psychiatrist. Loved working, learned so much. He was just amazing. In his recommendation letter for me, the last sentence he wrote is the one that I've never forgotten. This is since 94. So 32 years ago? No.
32.
32, right? Yeah.
94, 6, 2000, and then 25. 26.
Right.
26.
Yeah, 32. So the last sentence he wrote sticks with me to this day. And it was, if I would have to go to war, it would be Murphy and one by my side.
Aww. That's cute. That's adorable.
That made me feel really good. That sentence, forget about all the other things that he said I could do, right? He gave me opportunity to excel. And I did. Under his tutelage, oh my God, dude, I learned so much. That I started training the physician assistants that would come through my clinic. And I would give them a 2-week course of how to do the job. And I mentor them and everything. Because of how he taught me. And when he wrote that letter of recommendation, he said, you know, if I go to war, be him, I'd want by my side. Let's fast forward 4 years. I'm getting out of the Army in February or March of 97. And my unit was deployed to Bosnia. I didn't go because I was getting out. In the briefing to brief the new team, guess who's there?
He is.
Dr. Pincus. So he sees me He goes, Sean, how you doing? I said, Doc, what's up? How you been? And we start catching up. This is a Zoom call. And then the colonel who's in charge of the meeting was like, when you all are done, can we start the meeting? And he tells me, I was this close to working with you in Bosnia, huh? And I said, yeah. He goes, I was thinking, I wish you were there with me. I was thinking of you, because this is the first time he's going to be deployed. And says, I wish Murphy was here with me. He remembered that 4 years later. Because it's something that he really, truly believed. He didn't just write a letter of recommendation to make me sound good. He actually said, this is what you do. And yeah, well, I got out of the Army and, never looked back. But when you get a good letter of recommendation, you earn that. You don't just get a letter just because I know you, right? Mm-hmm. I've had people tell me, hey, can you write me a letter of recommendation? Sure, what do you want me to write? Because I don't know anything about you. There's nothing that you've done that stands out. Yeah, you're a team player, whatever, right? But you got to stand out. You got to do something special if you want that letter of recommendation that actually says something different. Because everyone reads your letter of recommendation, they're like, yeah, okay, yeah, he's a great employee, blah, 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 right?
Yeah.
But when you do a 1 month internship and the response is, he came in and changed the culture of our organization. Wow. That's a big step, right?
That's a lot.
Yeah, in 1 month.
Yeah.
The whole attitude of everybody changed where I work. That's the way it's always been with me, right? But to do something like that, get a letter, you have to do something to earn it. You don't just get something because you just show up and go to work. You got to really invest your time into learning it, Mm-hmm. And when you're thinking of all these pitfalls, you want to think of them beforehand so you prepare for them using our heat shields. So let's talk about those heat shields right now, Connor.
All right.
Protect your career trajectory with these strategies. The 6-month calendar, a proactive schedule that ensures you hit every major deadline before the heat is on. Wow, sounds like a syllabus to me, right?
Yeah.
The tailoring shield. Use specific keywords from the job post to prove you aren't just a random applicant. Remember, we don't want to be ignored by everybody. And the value anchor. Knowing your own skills so you can interview from a position of strength and not desperation. Because, they're interviewing 100 people for that position. They might actually hire 100 people, or not hire, but they might take on 100 interns for that position. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah.
When you're doing an internship, you're trying to learn the job. And I'll tell you, I was going to physical therapy for my shoulder. And there was a student there. And I go to this clinic every time I have an injury. I have a lot of injuries, okay? I know them by first name. And actually, one of the guys was my student years ago.
Oh, wow.
And so I went in and they're like, hey, we have an intern. You mind letting him work with you? I'm like, no, that's fine. And then at one point, he does something wrong and twists my shoulder and makes it 20 times worse. And I remember I'm holding it and I'm almost crying. And, for me to cry,
it takes a lot. I've only seen you cry like 1 or 2 times.
Yeah. And they come over and they're like, are you okay? I'm like, no, I'm not. Hold on. Let me just let this pain go away, right? And a couple of weeks later, I kept working with the guy. His internship was done. And he left. I said, oh, you guys didn't hire him? And she tells me, no. And I said, so what does he have to do now? She says, he has to go do an internship somewhere else.
Dang. That's...
So imagine being that second clinic he goes to work at. Oh, so what happened with your first internship?
Just broke someone's arm off.
Right? And it wasn't because I wasn't the only one, she says.
God.
We let him go a couple weeks early, actually, she said, because he was just that bad. I was like, wow, So you do have to prove yourself in an internship. They don't take it lightly. You're there to work. They might make you do all the stupid little tasks like go make copies or go throw the trash away, but that's all part of learning the system. That's all part of learning the system. And when you go into internship, learn what they need and tell them how you'll fill that. Right? You know, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Doing your job.
That's the worst answer in an interview ever. You know, when I got hired at El Paso High School, the principal looks at me and she's like, you understand this isn't a minimum wage job, right? I said, yeah. She says, why are you willing to take it? I said, because I'm working on becoming my certification. I don't have time to take on a full job and still do my internship and, you know, everything. And she says, okay. So she hired me, right? And then I want you to think of like a secretary in the office, just a basic secretary, a clerk.
Yeah.
They send an email out, hey, anyone need to order graduation gowns? And I answered and I said, yeah, I need one for my master's program in education because I can't find it. And she replies back to me and she goes, first off, that's for teachers only. Second, you're a secretary. You're a clerk. What do you mean you have a master's degree? And I told her it's because of this. And it turns out I had to reply all. So the whole school knew I have a master's degree now, working as a clerk. And I had to tell everyone, you know, I took a sabbatical from life, man. I just took an easy job for a couple of years just to get my life back on track. You know, and it was a very interesting experience working there. I really loved working there. If I get a chance to go back, I would go back to that school in a heartbeat.
What school was it?
El Paso High School. Last week I was wearing their jersey. I don't know if you saw the 100, because they've been around for 100 years. In 2016.
100?
Yeah, now it's been 110 this year.
Wow.
They actually went for the Guinness World Record of most alumni in one location, but it was so disorganized that it didn't happen. But they would have had the record. I can tell you that right now.
Well, can't they still go for it though?
Yeah, but when you have people coming in from all over the world to be there for the 100th, right? They're not going to want to do that again because the first time was so horrible, right? And if I'm not mistaken, I'm going to ask you to look up something right now, Connor. El Paso High School was the first high school to have lights and have a night game.
What do you mean, a lights game?
You know, the Friday Night Lights? You've heard of that term before?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, it started in El Paso High School.
Oh, wow.
See if I'm right about that, if I'm not mistaken.
Let's see. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, El Paso High School is credited with hosting the very first high school football game played under electric light in Texas on September 29th, 1928.
Amazing, huh? Here's another fact. You heard of the Sun Bowl?
Yeah.
The first two Sun Bowls were played in RJ. I forgot what his name. RJ's.
R.R. Jones.
R. Jones? R. Jones?
R.R. Jones, yeah.
R.R. Jones, that's what it is. RRJ Stadium.
Mm-hmm.
The first two Sun Bowls were played there.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, we've been talking about all the different things you can do that will help prevent you falling into these pitfalls. The steps you can take to improve your situation. But I'll tell you what, let's talk about the afterburn, where we ask those questions for reflection.
Mm-hmm.
So reflect on your value and what kind of environment actually helps you thrive. What's one specific skill you want to have mastered by the end of next summer? Okay, that would tell you where you want to do your internship, right? Who in my network can I reach out to right now for a referral or advice? Think about that. Who would you reach out to for a job in cybersecurity?
My computer science teacher.
There you go.
My TCTE teacher from high school.
There's a few people, right?
Yeah, there's a few. I'm just trying to think, like, out of school. I'm like, I don't know anyone. Yeah, you, probably. That's it.
Let me tell you something. When you ask someone to be a referral for you,
Yeah.
to put in a good word for you, to vouch for you, you take on a risk because that person might not be worth what you think they are. And it could lead to your career being affected by that. I think I've told you a story about where I was going to go work for a psychologist and do my internship with him and learn about EMDR and PTSD and all of that stuff. And someone told me, you don't want to work with him. I don't know why, but that person's opinion mattered so much to me that I did not go work with that guy.
Over just that one response?
A couple weeks later, he was arrested for having sex with his patients.
Oh.
And I went to that person and I said, hey, did you know? She says, no. But I didn't have a good feeling about him. And I'm like, well, he was an amazing guy. He was a great psychologist, but he was abusing people.
God.
And when someone has that kind of aura, for example, that when they tell you something, right, and you trust their opinion,
yeah.
Think about that. If they refer someone to you, you're going to say, well, whoever they're referring has got to be pretty awesome. Because they wouldn't just refer just anybody to this position. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Now, at the same time, let's reverse the flip here. Reverse the flip. At the same time, let's do the flip side here. Someone says, hey, I have a friend who I think would be great here. You suck as an employee. Would I want to have people who you recommend here? Right? Ooh. Think about that. You don't want to do that, do you? No. So, whenever you're asking someone for a referral or a vouch for you, make sure they're respected and that you're picking the right people to do this. Okay? Because those people have to vouch for you, and you basically are a reflection of them. And if they're a bad employee, the chances of you having a fair shot at that job is very poor. If they're a great employee, your value of having that job is very high, right? So think about that. And when you ask someone for a referral, make sure you pick the right person to vouch for you. There's nothing worse than being told, that's you? Right? Like, yeah. And the other thing is when someone's told, you introduce yourself and they're like, oh, you're that guy. I've been told I need to meet you. So that's the thing. When you get referrals or give referrals, be careful who you get them and give them. Okay? And I'll tell you what, it's time for not our favorite segment, my favorite segment, the Digital Inferno, where we talk about technology and AI. So we'll be right back.
It's time for a break. Hot Takes with the Murph Man will return after these messages.
The station where our veterans' voices are heard. MBR Talk.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Wonder what was going on inside the man in black's mind. Was he missing June? Was he thinking back when that picture was snapped? Was he wishing he could hold her? Did he know his life was over? The day that camera flashed the last picture of Johnny Cash. There on his face, show hard living and show grace, a story told in shades of black. Was he whispering a prayer through that cold and lonesome glare? The day the camera flashed the last picture of Johnny Cash.
Johnny Cash. Wonder what was going on inside the man in black's mind. Day old Marty Flash, last picture of Johnny Cash.
Let's talk about how technology can optimize your hunt in today's digital inferno. LinkedIn Alumni Tool, the ultimate database for finding where students from your school ended up working. I'll give you an example right now, Connor. Have you been following what's been happening at Burgess?
Yeah.
Okay. What are some things that happened there? Well, one thing recently was at the park behind him, there was someone getting jumped and someone pulled a gun and fired some shots.
Yes.
And notice I said shots with an S. The school came out and said, yeah, there was one shot fired. No, the kids heard several shots being fired. So that administration lost the credibility they had, if any. Because earlier in the month, I think they found a teacher watching porn in class, and no one did anything really about it. I think they're still working there. Okay.
Where have I heard that before? Not on the news, not on something. Someone told me. I think it's a friend.
Yeah. Okay.
Because she still goes to Burgess.
Right.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, so that things like that. Okay. When you lose credibility, that's not good. But I can tell you, I actually did my internship at Burgess. And I did it with some really good teachers. And the administration there, I love the administration. Has it changed? I don't know. I haven't been there in a few years. Okay. Principal's still there, and I would love to work with him. Right?
Yeah, been with him since middle school.
Well, not with him, but around him, yeah. And he's always impressed me. And, people say, oh, he delegates to other people. Well, because he has a good team around him that he doesn't have to do so much. And if he delegates it, that's his, that's his prerogative, right?
Yeah.
So, that LinkedIn Alumni Tool, reach out to someone that has worked or is working where you're at. Say, hey, tell me a little bit about your company. And a complete stranger reaches out to you and says, tell me about your company. You better be careful what you tell that person because you don't know who they are. But if you know someone, hey, would you recommend I go work here? And the answer is yeah or no. Now, I will tell you, I had a friend of mine, I've had two friends go work with me in a certain position as a counselor. And they were like, this is hard. You said it was easy. And my response to them was, it is easy. I don't know why you're having so much trouble. I would not have recommended you for this job if I thought you couldn't handle it.
Yeah.
Let's talk about why you're struggling. And let me try to help you with that.
Sorry.
Let me try to help you with that. But they didn't stick around too long, unfortunately. One actually is Thelma, not Thumb. Thelma. We talked about her last week.
Yeah.
And another one is Denise. And Denise now has her own private practice, and she's doing amazingly well.
Oh, that's good.
Another thing about Digital Inferno that we're going to talk about is informational interviewing. Reach out to pros on social media to learn the unwritten rules of the industry. There's just some things that you need to know about the jobs you're going to get into. And you can say, what are some cautionary tales you would tell me about getting into X number or X situation? Like cybersecurity. You better like to be alone because you're going to be by yourself a lot.
On the computer and not interactive.
Yeah. Now you could always go do networking and stuff like that and, move on. But ask yourself that question, right? Like, do you want to be involved with people or not? So there's things that you may not really realize as you're going to school. And last but not least, the AI interview prep.
Oh, God. I got to hear this.
Use digital tools to record your answers and polish your professional pitch. I love that sentence. You know that. Right?
Mm-mm.
Why not?
It's AI. Again, I hate AI.
Yeah.
I hate it.
But when I was trying to learn my improv, I would practice with AI.
Your improv?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Do you know what improv is?
Yeah, but you don't do improv.
Because this took off much more than I thought it would. But when I first started working with AI, one thing I started doing was I was going to go back and do comedy again.
Oh.
And I said I want to do improv. You know, crowd work or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And I would practice with it. And I would say at the end of the night, hey, so how do you think I did?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you need to work on this and this and this and this. Okay. You know. But you can use AI to say, I want you to interview me for a job on cybersecurity. What kind of questions would they ask me?
I have no idea. Anything about cybersecurity?
I'm saying, ask Gemini that. Ask the AI that question. And let them ask you questions as if they're interviewing you for the job.
That's because you were asking, what questions do you think they would ask? I'm like, I don't know.
No. I said, and then let it ask you the questions and answer it and say, how was that answer? You know, one of the biggest questions is, how much are you expecting to get paid? And your response should be something to the effect of, you know, I really don't like to be specific, but around what range are you looking to have in your budget for this position? Because it might not be what I'm looking for. And they have to give you a number first. The one who gives the number first loses. Because I could tell you, you know, I could do this job for $50,000. That's what I'm thinking of making. And they're thinking, I was going to pay 70. 50 is a steal, right? But if you tell them what's your range for the salary in this position, I just want to see if it's even worth it. And they tell you 70 to 90. You're like, ooh, I was going to ask for $20,000 less. And I told you this last night. I had someone last week, write the time down, just put an X. Last week, I had someone reach out to me, and because I had applied for the position. And she calls me and she goes, I need to have you come work for me. And she says, but I can't afford you. She says, the maximum I can offer you is this. I said, that's 5 less than I'm making right now. She says, I know. You wouldn't want to come work for me? I'm like, no, not for 5,000 less. Same pay, maybe. But why would I take same pay? I want more money. Right? That's one of those things that you got to really think about.
Yeah.
And when you give a number, or they give a number, it's very important. So you want to ask AI to practice that question with you repeatedly. Ask me this question in different ways. How much are you expecting to get paid? What do you think your value is worth to this company? Whatever phrase it can come up with. So when that question is actually asked to you, you've already practiced that answer by yourself, right? But if you have AI asking you the questions like they're interviewing you, and you take it seriously and you answer correctly and everything, so many things are going to come out of that. And I'll give you an example. You know my radio show that I do on Wednesday nights, the 915 Mix on Stream 915 Radio, right?
Mm-hmm.
I asked AI, I want to start a radio show, and I want to focus on the 80s. What music should I pick? And it said, you might want to look at this kind of music. I said, how about this? Let me tell you my experiences. And I told AI, I love rock, I love freestyle, I love new wave, and I like Debbie Gibson. Because I don't know what kind of music it was. It was pop music is what you would think, top 40. And it came back and says, oh, wow, yeah, you could do this and this and this. I said, what kind of music could I play? You could do this, this, and this. Wow, okay. And before you know it, I had a whole script written. Like, what kind of show should I have? What kind of things can I talk about? I want to do this, this, and this. Write it out for me. And it writes my script. And that's what I use as a format now.
Yeah.
So, AI can help you really, if you really, really
Need it.
And you know, I say everyone needs it. You say you don't, but I can promise you, it'll help you study. It'll help you do everything better.
I guess I'll try it out.
You know, in psychology, one of my friends, who's a teacher, said, you know, I have my kids do interviews with AI all the time. I said, oh, really? What kind of interviews? I say, I need to do a research paper on Sigmund Freud. I want you to act as Sigmund Freud would and answer these questions as if he would. And let me learn about him. And you go and start asking the AI questions, and it starts answering like it was Freud. Like, did you have any attraction towards your mother? You know, where did that idea come from, Freud? You know, and it'll answer you. And you really get to learn a lot about certain people in history if you ask it questions. It's pretty cool. You know, but yeah, doing an interview or even studying for your test. You know, I need to study on what RAM is. Can you help me? Boom. And you learn about RAM. You know, if you go to my chat right now on, no, don't go. But I'm saying, if you go to my chat on Copilot right now, the question says, here is a computer I'm looking for. I want it to be able to do this, this, and this, and I need to do this and this. Here are my 3 top choices. What do you think? And do you remember what the answer was?
No, I forgot. The new one you're getting.
These are not the ones you want to buy.
Oh yeah, they're all like knockoffs.
They're imposters. Even though they're all HP computers, the stuff that they're upgrading them with is low level stuff because it's a third party seller. It's not the HP quality stuff that you would expect from HP. Wow, didn't even think about that, you know. So hold on, let me look up. Here's another computer. Boom, here's another computer. And then one time I put a computer in there and it said, this is the one. This is the one you want to get right now, you know. And I'm like, okay, let me see how much it costs. $2,900.
No.
Do you have anything less than that?
Maybe like 1,000 short.
You know, and it gave me options. So I started looking for those options. And I'm still looking, right?
Yeah.
But, God, $2,000 for a computer. But it would give us really good editing, which we need to have if we're going to be doing what we're going to be doing, you know. Also, you can use AI to work out a problem. Say, I'm starting this job and I don't know how to approach this situation. And it'll give you some ideas. So AI is there to help you and not hurt you. You know, it's not going to take over the world yet. We're not going to have the whole Skynet situation like Terminator, although that is really possible. Do you remember the series Silicon Valley? The system it puts an AI system into work and it says, find the most efficient way to deal with problems. And then it just deleted the whole thing because it wasn't working. That's most efficient. Like, I'm not going to waste my time on this. Boop, delete.
Yeah, it was messed up.
You know, it's whatever you program it to do, it's going to do. You know, sometimes you can ask it questions and you'll get some answers. They're called hallucinations because it just pulls stuff out like, that's not even what I asked you.
Yeah.
Oh, you're right. Here, let me give you the answer you were looking for. Well, hold on. Why is there a hallucination to begin with? I'm specifically saying, I want to know what A, B, and C is, and you gave me D. What happened to A, B, and C? I'm sorry, my bad. Here's the A, B, and C. You still answer my question, and that's the thing. AI is programmed to not answer certain questions. You know, so overall, trust me, AI is worth it. Okay, It really is.
Maybe.
It is. So before we end tonight's show, let's take one more break and we'll come back for the final burn.
Sounds good.
Welcome back, you guys. The final word of advice today in our final burn. Your story is your resume. Tell it with enough heart. Welcome back from break. In today's afterburn, the final word of advice. Your story is your resume. Tell it with enough heat to get noticed. An internship isn't just the foot in the door, it's the choice to kick the door wide open. You know why I'm stopping?
Ice cream truck.
Fuck, dude.
It got louder. I'm like, oh, okay.
It did, right?
It did get louder.
Final burn. This. Welcome back from break, you guys. Ready for your final word of advice, Connor?
Yep.
You know, your story is your resume. Tell it with enough heat to get noticed, right? You know, an internship isn't just your foot in the door. It's a chance to kick the door wide open. Okay? You can really impress somebody in 30 days or 2 months. Trust me, I've done it. You can do it, or anyone can do it. And show up, speak up, and deliver more value than they asked for to show them what you're able to do. Now, when you get the job, are you going to keep working at the same level? Probably not, because now you got the job and your motivation goes away, right? So don't go too hard when you're doing your internship, because they're going to expect a lot more from you. But go harder than you would normally, okay?
Yeah.
And the final take for today is, an internship isn't just the foot in the door. It's a chance to kick the door wide open.
Interesting.
No, that's fine.
Okay.
So remember, today's final take. Your internship is not just the foot in the door. It's a chance to kick the door wide open. That's the end of today's show for me, Connor. Do you have anything you want to add or say, or questions you want to ask?
No, not for today's episode.
Maybe anything that popped up that you're like, I need to look more into that.
I mean, just the AI questions.
Yeah.
On how to answer stuff. That's it.
Okay. I hope you try that, because it really will get you some interesting stuff. You know, for Hot Takes with the Murph Man, see you next week.
See ya.
That's a wrap on this episode. If you're looking for more, you can find all the best clips from the show on our social media pages. For all the links and more information about what we talked about today, visit purehottakes.com. And if you want to watch the full replay or get access to our premium content, subscribe now at stream915.com. We appreciate you tuning in.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to Military Broadcast Radio. As we wrap up today's show, we want to remind you that the podcast of today's episode will be available right after we go off the air. So if you missed any part of the show or want to listen again, be sure to check it out. And remember, we're here to support and honor our veterans. Your stories and experiences matter, and we are committed to giving you a platform to share them. That's right. We're here to give our veterans a voice. So don't forget to catch the podcast and stay connected with us. Giving our veterans a voice.